Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I'm coming back at us with some Wargaming Weekly. It's a weekly show that I paint and I talk about news and stuff like that. But in today's episode, I'm going to record the first 15 to 30 minutes, which normally I don't do, but today what I want to do is I want to film my store news update. Oh goodness, yum yum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to film the store news update, and then roll into Wargaming Weekly afterwards. That's the plan. I should be able to use the same setup here to do my Wargaming Weekly. I have Diablos 2. Did I say that right? Diablo, but it's Diablo Operating System 2. I don't know. How are you doing today? Welcome. I have just so you know, I have the on-screen chat disabled so that nothing interferes with my recording of the what's my Wargaming Weekly. Okay, just FYI. Because even if I select you, it won't appear on the screen. I can turn it on, just temporarily. See, just like that. But I'm going to turn that off just so nothing else appears. Yeah, we're ready. Now, let me find my notes here. There they are. I'll try to condense them a little bit so that I don't have a million things on my screen. Okay. One thing I needed to get. What do I do with that ballast? Checking through some of my other stuff that I've got hidden away back there behind my screen of doom. Okay. Basically this is cork ballast, and I can use that as a reference. But I had some Woodland Scenics ballast. I might have put it in my terrain building. Might have put it in my terrain. Wait a second. No. Okay. Yeah, I might have put it in my terrain building stuff. Which I've got a couple of tubs of giant tubs of that. Okay. Good enough. Good enough for government work, right? All right. All right, so just ignore me. I'm going to wait, what is that? Oh, okay. So on YouTube, I see a waving hands and a smiling face, but when it comes over, of course, to my when it comes over to my stream, it decodes it and it actually has it as waving hand, grinning face with smiling eyes. Okay, so I was like, why is that over there and this is over here? But now I know. Okay, but that's disconnected, so don't worry about that right now. This usually takes me about 30 minutes to record, and then I edit out what I can. Sometimes I don't edit out anything. Sometimes I forget something and I have to get up and go get it and come back. And when I do, the that kind of stuff gets edited out. So here we go. I'm going to hit record somewhere. There it is. I should probably have a microphone. What do you think? Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, even though I'm recording, I can edit this out. I do plan on working on the Napoleonic figures today. This is part of my commission. And I'm going to be working on the horses almost exclusively today, and the cannon. So the cannon and the horses, the infantry, I'm going to put off until after I get the horses good to go. Not the cavalry, just the horses. Yeah. So we'll be doing that in just a minute. All right. Let me gather my thoughts. Make sure I got my post-it up. There it is. Just for reference. All right, here we go. Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In today's video, we're going to continue with our store news update. And in today's store news, normally if you haven't been to one of those, what I do is I touch on normally 5 subjects. What I'm working on, what I've completed, what kind of product I might have gotten in, also what kind of supplies I got in for the store or myself, and then also finally we talk about some news that might be out there that some of you might have missed. Now, usually the news that I talk about is stuff that's pertinent to me and my channel, my gaming community, my gaming, the games I play. So you won't see me talking about Pokemon or something like that because I don't play that. And this is the kind of part that we would edit out the video. Yum. Okay. That's actually I don't remember what the brand name is, but it's English toffee. And it's like yummy. I'm running low on that. I don't think I'm going to reorder though, even though it is really good. Okay, sorry. Back to what I'm doing. That's why it takes me so long to record these, because I'm so scatterbrained. Okay, so all right, let's talk about what I finished. Well, it's been a minute, but I have finished the SS infantry. Those are finished, and I'm still moving on from them, going to the next commission. But I did finish the SS infantry, as well as his anti-tank platoon. I have also finished those, and that I think was a week ago. I might have even mentioned that in the last video. So let's talk about what I am working on. Well, I'm working on a French Peninsula War French Army. It's the starter box that you get from Warlord Games. It has 4 battalions, a cavalry unit, a gun, and a general. Well, there's an extra cavalry figure, because when you add the metal figure into the unit, basically instead of just 12, now I've got 13. So I went ahead and based this guy up separately so that he could be used as another brigade commander. He could be used as a messenger or an ADC, or if this customer winds up getting more cavalry in the future, you could throw this into the unit. You could throw it in the unit anyway, but all right. So I'm working on that, and I'm also working on my late Republican Romans, the Marians, Caesar's 10th Legion, and all that. Kind of in between the scenes. So I'm not really working on them. I'm kind of getting them ready to be worked on. So those are they're on the shelf on popsicle sticks, ready to go. So that's really what I'm working on those. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, which I think I might have talked about on a different video, but we're going to talk about this in just a second. Okay. Supplies. Okay. Well, part of the supplies is I did get my little big men order in, and we'll talk about the little big men order. I also got in some more extra thin glue because this has been working really well. I'm very surprised, and I just learned how to use this using the capillary action and all that. But this is quick setting, and I deliberately went, and what I'm experiencing with this is I will put it on, because you can't use the capillary action on everything, right? Because the initial seal, to hold it in place, I needed, like on the neck, let's say, I would put glue down inside the neck, take the head and stick it onto the neck, and then once I felt like it was held securely, then I would go in and do the capillary around the gaps to get it, and then to get it to seal, right? But when I put the extra thin quick setting on the neck, and I grab the head and I come back, it's already dry, right? Literally. It dries that fast. So I decided to get some extra thin, not quick setting, never been opened, so I don't know. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to do a little test on some plastic to see if it doesn't dry super fast, right? And then I can always come back later with this or this and do capillary action, because these are both basically the same old. So we'll be trying that. Okay, so I got this Tamiya cement, which has been the other one. The quick setting's been working really well. So I wanted to try the non-quick setting. Also, I got these little big men decals, and finally, the week previously, I had gotten talus, right? And I don't know if my autofocus is on, but you can kind of see how small those stones are, right? Those stones are like really good, extremely good for like gravel or ground cover on the base of a figure or on some terrain. It's great, but it's not rocks. It's kind of like, it's too small. It's like texture. All right. So not realizing that, I mean, I ordered like the biggest, thickest talus I could get, or not talus, ballast, and I didn't realize that I didn't want ballast. This is almost not what it's really not what I wanted. I wanted talus, apparently. So this is talus right there. And this is medium, right? So they even make a more coarse talus. Now you can see how big that is. I don't know if you can really compare the two, but you can see one looks like ground cover, like almost flock, and the other one looks like stones, right? And so the talus, what I like to do with my talus, sometimes I'll sprinkle it on separately on a figure base, like just 2 or 3 little stones, and then put the grass and stuff on there. And then sometimes I'll just take talus, like a big bowl full of it, and I'll mix it in with my flock. And so when I go to flock my bases, random stones will fall out and it'll be more of a natural look. Some bases will have stones, some bases won't, etc. So it just depends on the mood, how I want to do it. But okay, so I did get the talus, the little big men decals, the glue. I also got in, I received some product, right? Okay, orders. We're still gonna talk about this. Okay, while we're talking about little big men, let's talk about that. This is part of product actually too, so, or supplies. Okay, however you want to look at it. This has 2 decal sheets in it. It might, but I don't care. I'm just gonna pull one of these decal sheets out. Okay, so this is a decal for Republican Roman shield, Old Glory, right? This is a decal sheet for Republican Roman Forged in Battle. So when you compare the two, you can see that one is way thicker than the other, right? And I noticed this on my Forged in Battle miniatures. I already used one Old Glory sheet on my Forged in Battle, not realizing that, or actually unable to order this. I was kind of in a panic, and so I just used Old Glory decals. And what I did was I just trimmed a little bit off of the outer edges and stuck it on there. It works, but it's not, I mean, it looks okay. Unfortunately, I know I'm not an okay kind of person. I want it to look good. So I will probably, I don't know if I don't think I'm going to clean those off or scrape those off or remove them. But I'm considering it because there's more than enough decals on this sheet to be able to do both legions. But I think I just wanted, I'll probably just do one and leave the other decals on. And I might use some of the microsol to kind of press it, whatever. You'll see it when it's completed. Plus I haven't put any paint on it, so it kind of looks jank with the white border and all that. But okay, so that's the Little Big Men product. Okay, so I did receive my Plastic Soldier Company order. I've got that in. That's all posted on the eBay store, so if you're interested in Plastic Soldier, go check that out. Also, I received my second Old Glory order. As you know, I had ordered a second order that I've been waiting for, and it had some like battle groups in it. A lot of Carthaginians. It had Carthaginians. It had Swiss. So I got like handgunners, crossbowmen, pikemen, halberdiers, mounted crossbowmen. So I got some Swiss. I got some Carthaginians, which actually had a couple of units that I don't know what they are. Lily Phoenicians and Ligurians. I got those. In addition to a few others. Numidian Cab, Numidian Javelinmen, and African Spearmen. And African Spearmen in Roman garb. So that's cool. In addition to that, I got some Napoleonics in. I got some British in, Dutch Belgian Carabinier, some French Old Guard, and some Cuirassier. Basically, just a smattering of a variety of different things that I was low on, so I just restocked. But all those, finally, it took me a few days, but I got them all uploaded, so they're on the store. What is that on my screen? Okay. Something was stuck to... Looks like a piece of candy stuck on my monitor. How did it get over there? Okay. And Hobby Link. So I got the Talus in, right? That but I also, in addition to the Talus, I also got in some Oathmark and some Frostgrave miniatures, and those are up as well. I've already posted them. Okay, and the only reason why I ordered, normally I don't order those through Hobby Link, but they had a couple of out of print boxes, and they also had a sale. I guess they were, because they're out of print, they put them on sale to get rid of them. So I got those up there. And okay, now in product wise, I do have an order in for V&V, right? V&V resin 28 millimeter miniatures, and I'm still waiting, right? I don't know exactly. It's probably been a month since I ordered. I mean, the last time we did this video, I put the date up that I ordered. I'm not going to do that this time. But I think it's maybe 3 weeks. It's either 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe it's 3 weeks. But I'm still waiting for those. But because they look really good on their website, and I saw a video of a guy do a V&V elephant, and it looked really good when he was completed. So I thought maybe I could grab a few of these just to see the quality. And if I like their quality, then I will put in a retail order for them. So I'll carry V&V here in the store. But if they're no good, we'll do a review on the channel, so you'll see what I'm talking about. And if they're good, I'll order some more. If they're not good, then I won't. Right? Okay. Well, V&V sent me an email last night on an unrelated topic. He sent me an email saying that they have now started producing metal miniatures. And they started with 100 Years War, I think is what he said. So I haven't had a chance to check that out, but I plan to check that out. More news. We have a sale going on right now. 10% off of anything on the painted side. So I've got painted miniatures like my 15 millimeter World War II, 28 millimeter World War II, 28 millimeter sci-fi and fantasy, mostly fantasy. I don't think I've got any sci-fi over there. I've got some American War of Independence, Napoleonics. Basically, I've got some painted model. Oh, I got some 28 millimeter tanks too. But in addition to what I've painted, I also put on like D&D models, soft, the plastic D&D models that you buy in a blister and they come pre-painted. Well, I've got those. Anything that I've got up there, those are all on sale as well, because I consider those painted, even if I didn't do the painting. And I got a building and also some like hedges and trees and brick walls, stone walls actually. Well, yeah, stone walls. I might not have put the stone walls and the hedges on the sale because I just uploaded those again. Or they might be auction. No, wait. Because none of the auction stuff is going to be on sale. But anyway, any of that is 10% off. And that's going to go on till I think the 8th of December. And then we'll have our Christmas sale. I don't know what it'll be. Yeah, so take advantage of that. Okay, now Old Glory website. We're in the news section right now. The Old Glory website. If you shop at Old Glory 15s, they extended their ancient sale. I don't know when till, but I got an email saying that it's extended. Also, I got an email from Warlord Games, saying that the prices on their websites are inaccurate for some viewers, right? It's not for everybody. But they recommend clearing your browser history and then going back to the website. Because you might have an old price or something on your screen because your cookies, used your cookie instead of the actual website. So refresh that. So that's Warlord. Now, Wargames Atlantic, they sent me an email saying that if you join the tribe, which I assume is their club, whatever club they have, but if you join their tribe, you get 60% off their miniatures. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. Who doesn't want 60% off? So I went to look at it, and that's not what it is. If you join the tribe, you get 60% off of their digital files. So if you've got a 3D printer, you can buy the digital files from Wargames Atlantic and print your own miniatures, right? And that's what that sale is. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think that's a dumb move by Wargames Atlantic to put their miniatures out on a 3D file. It might be smart in that they have no overhead and they can just duplicate their 3D file for free, and basically it's just free money coming in. But the problem is, if you've got Panzer in a box set and another Panzer on a digital file, and if someone has a choice, they probably aren't going to buy the box set. Because if they buy the digital file, they can print as many as they want, as often as they want. But if you did not offer that digital file and they wanted those Panzer, they would be forced to buy that box set or multiples of that box set. So I don't know how profitable that is for them. And first of all, I just don't think it's smart to sell your digital files. That's me. I understand there's people out there that use a 3D printer and they just print their own miniatures, but that's not your market, right? That shouldn't be the people that you're going for. You should be going for people that care about their miniatures, or people that want good quality production, because I've seen some 3D printed models. I even have a few that a friend provided me. They are not up to speed to like a resin or a hard plastic, right? He offered me some. I don't know if you know this monster, but there's an owl bear. The owl bear looks very good in 3D because it's covered in fur, right? But I also have a well, or I should say a fountain, I should say. and you can see the lines in the fountain. I know there's high resolution ones, there's low resolution ones, but I don't think it's worth it. I've considered getting my own 3D printer just to make items that I need hundreds of, like bases. I could see printing bases, right? I can see printing brick walls or rubble, or just various odds and ends. Like for a church, maybe a cross to glue on the church or something like that. But not men. Okay, but that's me on the Wargames Atlantic. Final thing I want to say is my Harn campaign has come to a close. I've ended it, and I've started putting together a Traveler campaign, which I have some players already inquiring about the Traveler campaign. I'm running into a snag with that, and it's not like publicly announced or anything. But what this is 2 of my players, maybe even 3, but 2 of them primarily, are going to be playing on their phone. And I have this feeling that these 2 guys, because they're friends with each other, I have a feeling that they are very young. I mean, maybe less than 18. Because they act like they don't have the internet, and they don't have a laptop or a desktop. Who in the world doesn't have the internet? Who doesn't have the internet? It's a requirement for you to exist in this world. So there are people that use now this is me getting, showing my age probably. If you've got a phone that gets the internet, obviously, through the mobile wireless connection, you're burning through your data. Especially if you're playing 16 hours a month on Roll20, you're going to, because 4 hours a week for 4 weeks a month, you're going to be burning through a ton of data. I don't know how many gigs that'll be, but I'm sure it'll be more than 5. And I used to work at a mobile, I used to work at AT&T, actually. I don't mind sharing that. I used to work at AT&T. And I worked a variety of different jobs. I was new account services, which means if you wanted to establish an account, you talk to me. I worked in warranty exchange, so if you had a busted phone, you needed a new one, I could send you one. First, I would have to troubleshoot over the phone to make sure it's not a user error or a menu or just a software update that needs to happen or something like that. So I worked in warranty exchange, and then from there I worked in technical support because I guess I was good at what I did. So I worked in technical support, which warranty exchange was like, turn it off, turn it back on. Does it work? No. Here, we'll send you a new phone. So that's warranty exchange. But tech support, sometimes warranty exchange would have to call tech support and say, I can't understand why this guy's light won't go out or it stays on or whatever. And I would have to say, this is how you do it. So, okay. But I did that. And then from there, I went to customer service, right? So I worked like with people that, man, I didn't use these 100 text messages, and you're billing me for my 100 text messages, that kind of stuff. Or how come my light doesn't go off. Okay, I got to send you over to tech support, or I'll call tech support, or whatever. Actually, at that point, I already knew what to do because I work in tech support. But I worked in tech support. But they had rules, even though I knew what to do, and I had access to programs, and I knew how to use these programs to take over your phone and to push certain hardware, software updates or whatever to your phone. And I could check cell towers to make sure they were down or not down or working properly or not working properly. As a customer service rep, I wasn't allowed to access, I was prevented from accessing these sites to help my customer. I had to contact tech support because they're the only ones authorized to access those sites. So it was kind of so if you ever talk to customer service and they have to transfer you or call tech support or something, don't get mad at them because AT&T's kind of like compartmentalized. Like they make sure everything, they don't want to bleed over. Plus they want quality control. They want to make sure it's done right or whatever. So I get all that. And then I also worked as a supervisor in customer service, new account services. No, wait. I was never a supervisor in new accounts. Customer service, tech support, and warranty. Nope. Oh, I'm losing my mind now. Just customer service and tech support. Those are my only supervisory positions. So I'm getting back at my Traveler game. These guys are okay. You buy a package that says unlimited data. Well, guess what? It's not unlimited data. It's 5 gigs. 5 gigs is more than most people will need on a day-to-day basis. But if you're streaming video, like watching a Netflix video or something every day, you're going to burn through 5 gigs very fast. And then what happens is they throttle you, which, you know how like internet has a real high speed, 100 gigs or 100 megs per second or whatever. You're getting a ton of data in your first 5 gigs. But once you burn that first 5 gigs, they drop you down to kilobytes. I mean, everything starts to spin. Your stuff doesn't load. Okay, and so that's what I'm afraid with these guys. Unless they've got internet. But they say they don't have internet and they don't have computers. Who doesn't have a computer? Even a laptop. I mean, you can go to Best Buy. You can buy a Chromebook for like $80. Go get a Chromebook. And it'll access any website in the world. And Roll20 and Discord, they're basically just apps and websites. So, and you could use Discord on your phone because it's not really video, it's just voice, audio. And then use your laptop or desktop if you've got it for Roll20 because it's video. You're going to see, your screen is going to move. You're going to have tokens moving around. You're going to have, I'm going to put up images and there might even be weather happening or something. So you've got to have the internet. I don't know what it is. Now, if these guys are young, and I kind of feel, and this is, I haven't really dug deep into these two gentlemen. I think they live at home. And I think, if you live at home, your parents have got to have internet. I mean, even if you don't watch TV, right? Even if you don't watch cable TV, almost everybody in the world streams or has a streaming device. like a Roku or a Fire Stick or a Chromecast or something, right? Or your TV has it built in. Like I've got a TV back out in the garage because I put it away, but it's got Fire already built into it, so I can, if I wanted to, I could connect it to the internet and I could watch Netflix or whatever. I actually built. I used that TV as my tabletop. Like I laid it flat on the table, and I connected my laptop to it, and actually my Chromebook. I connected my Chromebook to it, and streamed the Roll20 map onto the TV, and then we put figures on the top so we could move figures around the map, and then I used my desktop to game master the or actually that's not true. I used my desktop to stream the whole thing. I used the laptop. I logged into my Game Master account and my player account, and that way I could toggle back and forth if I needed to. Okay, but I just can't believe it. And my worry is these guys are going to play. They're not going to see the map, or they're going to see it on their phone, and they're going to. How are they going to be able to read their character sheet? How are they going to roll dice off of their character sheet and roll dice in Roll20? I don't know how they're going to do that. We don't roll physical dice. I don't accept that. We roll dice in Roll20. And I think there's going to be a problem. So we're going to try it. I'll learn quite a bit about their capabilities when we make characters. So when we make characters, it'll shed a lot of light on that. And I might have to tell them, guys, go out and get a laptop. They're like $80. If you both work, which I think one of them has a job. I don't know about the other one. And they both have internet on their phones, and that's it. So I'm worried about these two guys. Go out and get some internet. I mean, it's cheap. $30 or $25 or whatever. You can get just minimal internet in the house. Get a router, and then you can connect wirelessly to your router and not use any of your data. So that's whatever. That's the end of the news. Okay. Well, I'm going to edit all of that out of my video that I'm recording. I forgot that I was recording a video and not talking to my community. Okay, so let me step back and edit all that out and start over from the Traveler, and I'm going to redo this and edit it out, and then we'll start the actual stream here in just a moment. I am putting together a Traveler campaign. I've got some players interested. We got them on their Discord, and I'm still looking for more players. So if you're interested in a Traveler campaign, I have a couple of players that have only mobile data, so I'm afraid they are going to struggle. And so we'll figure that out going forward. But I'm still putting together the Traveler campaign. We're going to be playing Mongoose 2nd edition 2002 update, 2022 update. And then I will, I still have to upload a lot of data and characters and all kinds of stuff to my Roll20. before we get started. So I'm looking at maybe 2 to 3 weeks from now we get started making characters. So look forward to that. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out and checking out this video. And I'll catch you in the next one. All right, guys. Don't leave me. I just finished recording that video and I just blew my head off. Okay, so we're talking about Diablo, right? I'm just going to call you Diablo. It says you sound good. What are you working on? I'm working on some Napoleonic French. We'll be doing that here in just a minute. You're talking about small stones. Yeah, this ballast is, if you get the Woodland Scenics one, it is small stone. I got the Bosch one. This is actually cork. This is lightweight, very lightweight. It's cork. The Talus is like stone. You can probably hear it as I'm, milling about. Now it comes in different colors and things. I see, I can see it's a lot bigger, absolutely. Did you hear that? That was my stomach. Okay. Let's hope it's good. Oh yeah, it's going to be good. Okay, Fred says, we will buy digital files. Okay, so just starting off right there, Fred must be a 3D printer guy. He must have a 3D printer. He says he'll buy from other sculptors that make essentially the same and often better sculpts. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much money you've spent on your 3D printer, and the files. But the 3D printer, you need like really, really, really high resolution to beat injection molding, right? So, because I've seen some lower resolution printers print and you can actually see the lines, the layers and stuff, and I don't think it looks good. I've seen a lot of 3D printed models. Like I bought a Perry miniature, right? Perry miniatures make or they subcontract or something through a company that makes resin tanks for them, right? Resin. And I bought a number of these because they look extremely good, right? And I got it. I ordered it. The website even says it's resin. And then when I got it, I guess there is kind of a 3D printed plastic resin. So technically, they're probably not lying, but it looks like just hard plastic. Great mold lines. Didn't have any errors or blemishes on it. It looks really good. You flip it over, it's hollow. And there are these little spider webs on the inside of how the 3D printer holds it together. That's jank. It's ugly. And then when you go to pick it up, it's like super lightweight. I know some people like that. I don't like that. I like some meat. I want my figures, I want there to be a heft. I want there to be some weight to it. Not always. Like these guys are plastic. And that's fine. They don't weigh anything either. But I'm going to put them on a base. A big base. And I'm going to, like you might be able to like get some 3D printed Napoleonic figures. But I don't know. 3D printers, I just don't like them. Um, I okay. Let me back that up. I do have mixed feelings about a 3D printer. I can see the use of 3D printers, and I can see where a no offense to you. I don't know what you're using your 3D printer for, if you even are a 3D printer, but in general, I don't know, my ethics just bleeds. I'm such a lawful good. I don't know what it is. When when Warhammer, and I'm going to use Warhammer 40K as a big example. When Warhammer was big, right? I mean, very popular. I had a I had a brick and mortar store, and the Warhammer models would fly off the shelf, right? And people would buy them, and they're expensive, right? Well, now they're even more expensive. But back then, I even thought they were expensive at the time. Reaper models were like $3 or $1.50 or something for a Reaper model, where Warhammer models were like $8 or something. So it was like they would fly off the shelf. And the plastic models, they looked really good. And people enjoyed the game. We played, we had tournaments, etc., etc. I closed my store. Man, my stomach has got some. I already ate. I ate some eggs. Okay. So I don't know what's going on with my store. Maybe I've got gas. Hang on. I got some Rolaids right here. Happen to have them right there on my desk. I'm going to take one of these. I would know people that wouldn't buy the Warhammer models. They would 3D print models that were just like the Warhammer models. I mean, they look like Space Marines or Tyranids or whatever. And they were in different poses, and but they looked like they were the same. I felt like they were stealing. I felt like they were stealing from the company, the sculptor, the artist, the game company. They put millions of dollars into their molds, into the books, this it really got started when people would steal books on PDF. They would go to these free download websites. They would download books, and they would have the entire book on PDF because they're too damn cheap to go buy the frickin' book, right? Or buy the models. They would have 3D printed models or whatever. And I feel like all of that steals money out of the company that's making these models. Okay, so that's coming from that side. But on the other side, I realized that they were too expensive, right? And people were trying to save money. But, which brings me to another subject. I wanted to talk about this. And I better take this before. Oh, my gas, it causes my stomach to explode. I haven't even touched the model yet. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not loyal to any one game company, right? I'm loyal to them all. And not because, I have any affinity for them or anything. It's just because I understand how hard it is for them to run a company. As a businessman myself, I consider it theft. I consider it stealing, because you would have paid them for their models, but now you're not. Now you are printing your own, which if it's just you and your friends, it's still stealing. You know, some people say, well, it's my business, it's my game, I can do whatever I want. It's not. It's not your game. I mean, once you buy it, it is. Then you own it. I'm sorry, I've got some morals. I have some ethics. I'm sorry. It might be different than yours. Okay. Before I start painting, I want to make sure I get caught up on all the chats. Because says Talus looks a lot better. You're absolutely right. I agree 100%. And Jonathan says, looking forward to the Traveler game. Thumbs up. Hey, thanks, man. It should be fun. I want to talk about two things now that you brought that up. I can't see with these glasses, so I got to switch glasses every time you chat. All good. Okay, cool. I'm using walnut, which is like a really dark brown, on these horses. Again, we're just doing horses right now. Now, I considered spraying them brown like I normally do. Okay. I have a feeling. Yep. This is almost empty. I probably should get another one. Actually, I've got other paints that are the same color. I'm just using this because it's bulk. There's umber, and umber and walnut are almost the same. Okay, I'm hearing it. This might be a little dry. I might have to drop of water in the shake well for use. Yeah, of course. Okay, there's two things I want to talk about. I want to talk about painting and or a trend I've seen in painting that I want to share with you guys. It's just my personal epiphany, and then and then the Traveler campaign. A little bit, behind the scenes details. I'll start with the painting. Okay, I've been watching videos, YouTube, etc. of other, and they'll pop up on my suggested video list or whatever. Okay, come on now. I have a feeling this might need to be purchased. Oh my gosh, look at that. Hard as a rock. There's some in there. I don't need a whole lot. I might have to grab one of my P3s. Actually, I might even have another one of these. I know I've got like real brown and I've got umber as well up there. Okay, I see why now nothing was coming out. It was blocked. All right, we're nice and clean now. There we go. Let's get a little shake action going on. Burnt sienna is a great color for horses. Okay. I have it in there because I use it a lot. Okay, so I've noticed, oh, here we go. There we go. I should probably put this on my paint mixer and go. I noticed a trend in on YouTube, which I assume it's kind of everybody's kind of abiding by this trend. I'm not. Speed painting. Okay. I've seen videos like how to paint a Roman in less than 10 minutes, or how to paint your army in one day, how to, how to paint this in no time, or the fastest way to paint your models. And there's a million of those videos out there. And my initial thought was, yeah, I want to know how to paint fast. That was my initial thought. And then I was like, no, I don't. I don't want to know that. Okay, I'm painting this army for a customer, but hypothetically, let's say I was painting that for myself, which I'm going to just go out on a limb and share this with you. I paint one way. I paint as if I was owning these models. So I don't have a different painting technique for a commission that I would if it was for me. So for me, it's all the same. I paint to my level of quality, and that's how I paint. Now, when it comes to, do I want to crank these guys out and get them out so that this customer can have a painted army? Yes, I want that. I would love to speed paint these. But I don't want to do that, because when you speed paint, you don't have all the quality and the TLC that the models need. You get like, you complete them, you get them on the table, they look good, but they're not great, So when I think about my models, okay, let's say I've got a French general. Let's say I've got this guy, right? Do I want to paint him in one day and have him be done? Because I'm going to be using him for the rest of my life, right? Why would I want to crank him out if I'm going to be using him for years and years and years? I should take my time, do my best, make this guy worthy of the tabletop. Oh, look at that. It's nice and thick. I was afraid it wasn't going to be thick when I added the water. I probably should add a little bit more water. It seems like it might be a little too thick. I got this little Klingon hanging there. Okay. So my thought is, don't speed paint. Speed painting is counterproductive to the hobby. Now I understand I'm not going to paint one model at a time. Actually, painting one model at a time would be preferable, but then I would just never get any armies finished. Okay, maybe another drop, just not thin enough. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay. Start with this guy. Now, there's no thought involved here. It's 100% coverage on the horse. And the reins. Specifically the reins, because when I'm going to be layering horses. I always layer my horses. This dark brown is the first layer. Well, I guess you could call the white the first layer. Okay, so my point is, if I'm going to be painting an army that I love, let's say Ultramarines or something, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to paint I'm going to paint them. I'm going to paint my champions. I'm going to sit, maybe take my time. Make sure that they're perfect. Yeah, so I plan to do a video. It's going to be a grind my gears, actually. Okay, so I had gas. Because I am farting. You guys might not hear it. But I'm tooting over here. One reason why I use the dark brown And on these layers, what I do is I do the dark brown, and then I layer it up with lighter and lighter browns on the raised areas between the reins and the harness and everything. So basically the harness and the reins wind up being dark brown at the end. Okay, so he's got a... Now all of these are not going to be dark brown, or they're not going to be brown in general. I'm going to use nutmeg on some of them, most of them. I'm going to use raw sienna on some of the other ones. And I think I'm going to use like a silver gray on the musician. He'll have like a different color horse. It'll be white. Well, not really. It'll be like a really light gray. Okay, so that's my philosophy about speed painting. I think it's an oxymoron for a wargamer. Now, I understand, like, let's say I needed to paint like 100 M1 Abrams, you know, to get them all on the table or whatever. Well, that's one thing. I would probably speed paint to get them on the table. But then why do I need to get them on the table? That's my... Are you going to a tournament? No. I doubt if there's any M1 Abrams in any tournaments. Oh, that's not true. I guess Team Yankee, you could have a tournament there, because it's point driven. But you're not going to have 100 15 millimeter. I was talking about micro armor. Yeah, there's not enough brown. And one of the reasons why I didn't prime these guys brown because I want their uniforms, either the chasseur or the general, I wanted their uniforms to be clean, bright. Green or blue, you know what I mean? White pants, etc. Chasseurs are going to be hunter green. Because chasseur means hunter. Hunter green is chasseur green. I even have a hunter green paint, and below it says it in French. It says chasseur green. Yeah, there's not going to be enough to do these horses. Let's add some. And then we'll talk about Traveler. Jonathan says that he wants to GM a Traveler game, but I have no experience of it and have no idea where to start. And Diablo has to go to work. He has to go to work? All right. Okay, so back to Jonathan. Jonathan, or the best place to start would be the rule book. Do you own the rule book? If not, if you go to the Mongoose website, they have a introduction book. When you go to the rule books, there's one that's called like Introduction to Traveler or something like that. It's 99 cents. Right? I think it's a PDF. I don't know. I don't own it. You could get that. You could read it. Or you can just get the rule book. Now, if you order the rule book hardback, you'll get a PDF, or you can click on just PDF and you'll get a big discount. I think the rule book is like $60 and the PDF is $30. I think. Yeah, you know what? I think this is just too thick. I think I'm going to need to add water. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've used this walnut. That's probably why it's so dry. Okay, it's not leaking on me, is it? Okay. Once you have the rule book, you don't need anything else. But I would recommend picking up one of the introductory adventures. Now, Traveler has, and I'm talking about the Mongoose Traveler, there is a lot of different editions of Traveler. There's first edition classic, just classic edition. Then there's Mega Traveler, which is a really good system. And then there's Traveler the New Era, which I didn't like. Okay. And then there's T4, which is Mark Miller's Traveler. And then there is T5, which is also Mark Miller's Traveler. It's just an updated version. And there's also, believe it or not, D20 Traveler, which uses the, I think it's 3.5 D&D kind of open game license thing. I don't like it. It's got feats and stuff like that. It's D&D in space. I don't like it. But I have it. I have a copy of it on the wall there. I bought it and I read it and I was like, nope, not ever going to play this. And then there's also something called Traveler 2300. Don't get confused. That is a totally different game. It's Traveler on Earth, basically. It's kind of like Twilight 2000. If you remember Twilight 2000, Twilight 2000 was role playing in a World War III scenario. Like you were a soldier on the front line during World War III in Europe. You know, it was okay, but it's not. I mean, the mechanics were great, but the story was very limiting. That's why I didn't like the Traveler, the New Era, because it was very limiting. Yeah, pick up the rule book. You don't need all the additional supplements. You don't need High Guard and Mercenary and all these other books, they're good books, don't get me wrong, and they add a lot of flavor to the game, but you don't need them. You might consider choosing a, well, you, if you buy an adventure, right, you pick one of the adventures, starter adventure. There's one that's called like High and Dry. I'd probably get that one. The mongoose, the mongoose writers are really good at in these adventure modules letting you know why your players are there, how they got there, and what their motivations are and stuff like that. And you can just share that with your players to kind of get them started, right? Because most likely, if you haven't played, then your players probably haven't played. Unless you're reaching out and getting new players. If you've never played, I would strongly recommend, this is just something to get you familiar. I would make about 10 characters. Go step by step, die roll by die roll, randomly roll 10 characters. And then you know what you could do? You can always use those characters as NPCs in your campaign or whatever. But instead of just like what I do nowadays, I just arbitrarily say he's got a 10 strength, he's got a 7 intelligence or whatever, and I say, okay, he's got piloting 1 and engineering 2 or whatever. When it comes to NPCs, I just know like how the character generation works, and I can go through and just off the top of my head just make a character without rolling any dice. But I've been doing it since 77. There are literally thousands of books involving the Traveller universe. Remember all those editions that I talked about? Plus there's a ton of fans out there, creating modules and adventures and stuff like that. There's also novels. There's a number of different Traveller novels you could read in the world, and they would shed a lot of light on how the world works and stuff. But again, most of the rule books or most of the support books, the majority of the book is lore telling you telling you history and all that. And there's really only one lore. If you want to play in the Traveler universe, because you can play Traveler in other universes, you can make up your own universe. There's a whole thing about how to make worlds and stuff. But if you want to play inside the Traveler universe and you want to use the lore from the Traveler universe, I was going somewhere with this. Lost my train of thought. Oh, the only thing you really need to worry about is the overall story, the background, the history, the way the worlds work, and the way the government is in the Empire and stuff like that. But you don't have to be in the Empire. You could be outside the Empire. You could be in an area of space that's uncharted, right? You could, as a game master, you can make all these worlds. That is a lot of work, and I probably wouldn't recommend it for someone just getting into it. I would recommend getting an introductory module and just running the module. And from there, you'll either be excited or you won't. And if you're excited, you might say, oh, wow, I want to expand my collection. And then you buy another module, or you buy a campaign book. There is a website I use called Traveler Map. I strongly recommend it. It gives you a map of the galaxy and all of the star systems in charted space, which is only a small fraction of the galaxy. But it's where Traveler takes place. Now they just released a new campaign. I'm not going to say just, but about a year ago. And the whole premise behind this, whoops, that was a mistake. That's all right. That can be fixed. The whole premise behind this campaign is that the players don't know anything about where they're going. It's kind of like Star Trek. Boldly go where no one has gone before. So every one of the worlds has not been explored in the Traveler universe. So you really can't mess anything up. Okay. I think it's called the Reach, Beyond the Reach, or something like that. Basically, the players are on a ship, and the ship is on a 20-year mission. I know it's long. A 20-year mission to go to the edge of the galaxy or something like that. and find the supreme being that lives there. And that adventure reminds me of Stargate. Is it Andromeda? Yeah, Stargate, the one where they have the ship, the Odyssey, and they're billions, or they're in a totally different galaxy, and there's no way to get back. They don't have enough power to power the Stargate to go all the way back to Earth. I really liked that series. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I liked it, but it was very limiting because you had what you had on the ship and that's it, right? And that's kind of what this traveler adventure is. You're on the ship, you're traveling out to go explore the edge of the galaxy. It could be fun, but I don't think it would be very good as an extended campaign. I don't know. And it says also, like, if one of your characters dies, you just make a new character and say he's been on the ship the whole time. He was a background character, you know. Because apparently the ship is very large and has hundreds of people on it, maybe thousands. So there's no way you could meet everybody. But I kind of like the idea of players owning a small vessel and they have to earn money to survive. And they get to make their own decisions on where they go and what they do. Now, don't get caught up. I know I'm ranting on Traveler, but don't get caught up with the trope. Okay, there's a thing that happens in Traveler that players and the game master can happen in your game, and if you're not prepared for it, it could dominate your game. I'm not going to say it'll ruin your game. It'll just take over for you, and you as a game master will just be a conduit to allow the players to follow this monster, this story devourer. And the thing I'm talking about is speculative trade. It's one of those necessary evils in the game and you're going to introduce it at some point to the players, and then it's going to take over and the players are going to think about nothing else. And speculative trade is how most travelers make their money to pay for their bills, because a ship is expensive to run. Fuel and life support, maintenance, berthing fees, all this craziness. And players see speculative trade as a way to pay those bills. But then they stop adventuring. They only do the speculative trade. And you know how in Dune they say fear is the mind killer? Well, speculative trade is the adventure killer. So, allow speculative trade, but also introduce other things into the game. Be ready for it. Have them pre-generated. Or be a good dungeon master and think of these things ahead of time. Because I'll give you an example. This is hypothetical off the top of my head. The crew of the March Harrier, a merchant ship. The players own, or the players are in the process of paying for this. They have a bank loan, and they have to pay it back every month. You know, they got a monthly payment. So they land on this planet. We'll call it Zila. They offload their passengers that they were carrying and the freight they were carrying. And they get paid for it, right? They get paid for the passengers, they get paid for the freight. So now you got players wondering what to do. Well, usually they announce their destination, let the spaceport know that they're able to take 6 passengers. So if there are people that want to go to that destination, they can present themselves. And then they go to the bulletin boards. All of this done without even leaving their ship. They go to the bulletin boards via the web, and they look to see if there's any cargo that needs to be shipped. And one of them gets the idea, hey, Zila is famous for wine. Zealand wine. Let's buy some wine and carry it to the next world and sell it. Maybe we'll make a profit. One of the players says, well, we should take freight because it's guaranteed we'll make 1,000 credits per ton. they all agree. But they have a 100-ton cargo hold, and they only have 50 tons of freight. So they have 50 tons of empty space. So they say, sure, let's go buy some Zealand wine. They find a winery, and it's willing to sell them some wine at, we'll say, 1,000 credits per ton. So they fork up 50,000 credits, kind of a lot of money, for this 50 tons of Zealand wine. They get their passengers, they get their freight loaded, they get the cargo loaded, because it's different. Cargo is something you paid for, and freight is something you're carrying for someone else. So they're paying you to carry their boxes to the next world. So you get your freight loaded, you get your Zealand wine loaded, and what have the players done? Nothing. No adventure, no excitement, no trouble in town, none of that. They're all quarantined on their ship. They've never been off their ship. And then they refuel, get new life support, pay the harbor master, and then they take off and they go to the next world. They land, offload their freight, offload their passengers, they get paid. But now they have this 50 tons of Zealand wine in their cargo hold, and they put it out on the market, and they say, we've got this Zealand wine, we're looking to unload, taking bids or taking offers or whatever. And all you're doing at this point is rolling dice. There's no role playing. There's no adventure seeking. There's none of that. And then they get contacted by a guy, and he offers them 5,000 credits per ton of Zealand wine. Okay, so they sell it to him. They just made a huge profit, right? 250,000 credits for their cargo that they paid 50,000. So they just made a 200,000 credit profit. So now you see the wheels turning in the players' heads. Screw this freight. Let's just do speculative trade, because we can make a killing. And then they do it on planet A, they do it on planet B, they do it on planet C, they do it on planet D, and there's no adventure. It's just buying and selling, buying and selling. Don't let your players fall into that trap. The way you do that, because speculative trade is appealing, now you do this. as an alternative, as an example. They land on Zila. They offload their freight and their passengers. They get paid. They pay for life support, berthing fees, and fuel. And then they look in the boards and they say, let's get freight. And you don't mind giving them 50 tons of freight. That's kind of like the way you rolled it up. And then you also rolled up that there is a guy willing to sell 50 tons of wine, right? Because they decide that they're going to try some speculative trade. And you put a little twist on it. You say, well, this guy is willing to sell you his wine, but you have to fly out across the continent to his villa, and you'll have to load it yourself. It might take a day or two, because 50 tons is a lot of weight for just people to hand carry boxes of wine into a ship. You just got to land at like one of his warehouses or something. His bottling distilleries or whatever they call it. And so you tell the spaceport, hey, we're going to go out here, we're going to land, we're going to pick up some cargo. And they say, you can't go out there unless you have a permit to land. But to get this permit, you've got to pass a test. And now, see, you're starting to throw a little bit of wrenches in the scenario. It's still speculative trade, but you're giving it a little bit of life. Okay, they passed the tests. They pay the 100 credits to get their license. You know, it wasn't very expensive. And now they've got a permit to go land off the starport. And then you land at this Zealand winery, and you start loading the cargo because, you know, that was the agreed upon thing. You pay him his 50 grand or whatever, and you start loading, and it's gonna, you and all your other crew members, it's probably going to take you 2 or 3 days. And then on day 2, the villa gets attacked by bandits. It's not really any of your business. Do you help or do you not? You're not getting paid to help, but if the bandits succeed in doing what they're wanting to do, you might lose the second half of your cargo. So don't just let your game, what my point is, don't let your game just devolve into just rolling dice. I go from world to world, I buy cargo, I sell cargo, we jump to the next world, I buy cargo, I sell cargo. That's boring. That's not an adventure, that's just a exercise in rolling dice. Some people like that. But I'll tell you right now, it gets boring after about the 5th planet. So fill in the gaps. Don't let speculative trade just be dice rolling. If I have any advice for a new game master, that is it. Another thing you can do is impound the ship. Or have the bandits attack you directly because they saw this opportunity to get a spaceship. And get off this planet. Or have one of the passengers you pick up have a story. You know? Role play your time in jump. Don't just say, and I've done this, I've mistakenly done this. Okay, you enter jump, roll some dice. Okay, make your engineering check. Okay, let's see how many days it takes. Okay, it took 7 days, and you guys are now at the new planet. Well, what happened in those 7 days? It was like a big time jump. Which time jumps can be okay, but try to get a little bit of role playing in. It doesn't have to be all 7 days, but there should be some interaction between the players and the passengers in that 7 days. Maybe not all the players, maybe not every passenger, but have at least one of the passengers have a story. And maybe it leads into the next adventure. Maybe he says, his villa was raided by bandits and he was forced to leave the planet and he needs help going back to his planet, which is like 3 jumps away or something, to retake his villa. And the players, if they're adventurers, will probably say, what's in it for us? Right? And he could say, well, I'll give you a contract where you would be the only person I sell, or the only ship I sell wine to from this planet. The players might like that, especially if there's big profits from that wine. Okay, that's enough. I'm ranting. Let me see if there's any chats. Oh my gosh, there's millions. Jonathan thinks that's a good place to start. You're welcome. I've seen your tutorial series, but you said there was a 2022 version, so I got a bit confused. Yes. It's still 2nd edition, but it's a reprint. It's like everything is reorganized in the book and placed in a better sequence, like a better place to find everything. I'm trying to get my friends away from D&D. Hey David, thanks for joining us from Northern Virginia. I'm sitting here painting up some horses for my commission. We're getting them started. This is obviously not their finished color. This is the undercoat, which is walnut, which is almost like a super dark brown. And my focus as I'm painting is really the reins. Because the gaps between the reins, the horse flesh, I'm going to be painting with a layer of lighter browns and growing the lighter brown nutmeg or burnt sienna, or no, I guess it's raw sienna. I don't think I have chestnut anywhere. If I did, I'd be using that also. I might have a color similar to chestnut. Okay, we're starting to run thin on this dark brown, so this is the last horse base. So maybe we'll make it. Now I painted one of the, or not painted, one of the horses, because he's going to be a gray horse, a silvery gray. He's the musician. So my SS commission, what I finished it about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I sent an email to the owner letting him know it was finished. And I haven't got a reply back. So I'm concerned. I have a policy, just so you know, and it's a I double checked to make sure I was legally allowed to do this. The state that I'm in says 30 days, but most states say 60. So I say, why not just use the 60-day limit? That way I'm not violating any customer's legal rights based on where they live, even though it's really where I live, but that's okay, I don't mind. If I notify somebody that their miniatures are finished and I'm ready to receive payment so that I could ship them out, the after 30 days, I start to become concerned, and I will reiterate with a little bit more harsh, I guess, or stern verbiage, that you have another 30 days for a total of 60 days for me to receive payment. At least write me back saying something. But if I get no communication, what you're telling me is you didn't want those figures in the first place. Maybe they were a gift. Maybe you no longer have the means to pay for them. That's entirely possible. Maybe you lost your job, or maybe heaven forbid, maybe you passed away. I don't know, because I haven't got a message. So after 60 days, ownership falls to me. It's and then what I could do at that point is I could just sell them. At my last job, what we would do, we would actually give our customers 90 days before it's considered abandoned. So I used to work in a technical support field, repairing, rebuilding cell phones and computers. And if you leave your product, because we don't charge you until it's repaired and you come and pick it up, right? We have like an initial payment thing. It's like a down payment. It's not really. It's like a diagnostic charge, which we deduct the diagnostic charge from the repair cost. So it's basically rolled into the repair cost, basically. And if you don't pick up your if you don't pick up your cell phone or your laptop or hard drive or whatever it is we're fixing, after 90 days, it's considered abandoned. And what we would do is recycle it. We would just take it to the recycler, and we had a company that recycled electronics. Because we would have like 30 computers or whatever on our shelves, and the shelf would be packed, and then this one dead computer is sitting there, fixed or not fixed. Sometimes it couldn't be fixed, and we'd let them know, hey, it can't be fixed, come pick it up, and they wouldn't. So we would consider abandoned. Now, I don't suspect I'm going to have any problem with this customer. Mainly because I've done a lot of work for him and he's always paid. So I don't suspect there's going to be an issue. I'm just surprised he hasn't written me back saying, like, payments in the mail. Or, thanks, or nothing. Now, he does have a dangerous job. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but it is a dangerous. And that's why I said, heaven forbid, he's passed away. If he writes me and says, oh, I've been away from the country, or I've been, involved in something, I haven't been able to get back to you. As far as I'm concerned, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Life happens. But it's been a couple of weeks now, and I'm starting to worry. He also likes to send me money orders, which I told him that I don't want money orders. Of course, I'll accept them. But when someone contacts me for a new commission, I tell them, this is how you pay. And it's not money orders. Okay, so the walnut is done. And I've got his miniatures sitting over there on the shelf waiting to be packaged and shipped. Okay, so what did we talk about today? We talked about the first 30 minutes was me recording my store news update, and then which I'm going to edit and upload later tonight. I was thinking about experimenting, buying something from someone on eBay and asking them if they combine shipping, which I don't know of anybody that doesn't. Everybody combines shipping, right? And if they don't, that's okay. But you buy 2 miniatures from me, I put them in the same box. If the shipping is cheaper than what you paid, I refund the difference. Okay, this is Clover. Hold on. This is classic. This is green. This is just green. This is classic green. I mean, shouldn't they just be the same? And this is Clover. Okay. I'm using Clover. I have a really light green up there. I don't remember what it is. Grass green, I think is what it's called. But this is the color that I was looking for the carriage of this cannon. The official okay, it's really going now. The official wording is apple green. That's what you're supposed to use, right? But apple green, it's just a little bit too light. Apple green looks a little bit like this. Yeah, apple green looks a lot like this. And I could use this color, but I've decided to use this color. That is camo bright green. Oh, hold on. I forgot I had this light green. Ooh. Nope, I'm still using Clover. You can see how it dries. Okay. Alrighty. Really? Where are you? There you are. Yeah, the only order that I've got out pending is the V&V. Everything else has already came in. There we go. Yeah, this is going to need some TLC. I've already got some ready to go. Ah, there we go. Now it's mixing. Yeah, this is probably way too much for just one gun. What the hell? Now I should have a hunter green bottle like this. I don't know where it is. I'll have to look for it. Now I could paint the entire thing, gun barrel and all. with this color. That's going to be a great apple green. Because don't forget, I do a wash, and that's going to darken it up a little bit as well. And then I'll probably go over it with some a lighter green highlight. Well, I sold almost all of my superhero models. I put them up on auction, and like, I think I had like 15 or so packs, lots, and I sold like 12 of them. Okay. I'm hearing my post person. I got a bunch of packages out in the mailbox. Namely, all those superheroes that I was talking about. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. Okay, luckily, I just remembered. I gotta paint the edge of this base. Because white is not a very earth tone. I mean, I suppose it could be if I put snow or whatever. Yeah, but this is a peninsula army, so it should be desert, maybe. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do some grass and tufts and standard dark green, or dark brown, or whatever. Maybe even a medium brown. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear the helicopters flying over. I'm right next to Fort Campbell, where the 101st is at. Yeah, it sounded like the mail was going the other direction. They come by twice. They go one way and then the other way. So I don't think I'll be putting any orders in until next year. Everything that I've got in, I'm pretty much just going to let it ride until January. I got this Warlord order in like a week ago, and I still haven't put the books up on the site. It's because I've been doing all the other companies like Plastic Soldier, Old Glory, Hobby Link. Victrix. Now the house is shaking. They're flying low right over our house. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some water to the paint, thinning it out quite a bit actually. And then using it kind of like a wash to get rid of all these brush strokes. Mostly on the wheels. Plus I'm looking over the miniature to make sure I didn't miss a spot. Alrighty. So that frame is going to dry. Excuse me. Now I noticed that Tamiya, with their glues, they've got one I thought about buying. It says ABS cement, right? So it would be perfect for the Rubicon models. So I considered getting it and testing it just to see how it worked. But I'm not going to buy a whole bottle of glue just for that test. You know, I decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. All right, guys. Well, this is where we're going to end this video, this stream. I normally end it around 1-ish, you know, somewhere around that area. What do we got? 1:30. Okay, so that's good. David says, I am in multiple projects, including terrain for modern Cold War with micro armor and 28mm fantasy for Frostgrave. Your terrain for the modern Cold War era micro armor, are you using the GHQ hex system that they've got? I have a whole collection of it. It will cover like 2 tables or whatever. I've got snow on some of them, rivers, roads, trees, hills, all of that for micro armor, and it's out in the garage. And I've been thinking about selling it, but it's so much, it would be multiple big boxes, you know? And I don't know how much I want to ship that, or I might want to keep it, because I don't dislike micro armor. It's just I'm really into 15mm. A lot. Heavy into 15s. Okay, well, thanks guys for hanging out and chatting with me and keeping me company and listening to me rant about speed painting and customers that don't pay and customers that steal intellectual property by printing PDFs of books they didn't buy, or printing miniatures using a 3D printer of figures that they didn't buy. All right. Sorry, guys. All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you in the next one. It might be tomorrow. I might be on again tomorrow, so stay tuned.